Amara sat on the wooden bench at the edge of the park, clutching a yellowed envelope. The autumn breeze played with her hair, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and fallen leaves. The envelope in her hand was addressed to Daniel, the man who had once been her entire world. Their story began 6 years ago, in a bustling cafe where they both reached for the same book on a communal shelf. The alchemist, said, holding it up with a warm smile. Looks like we're both chasing destiny. Amara laughed nervously, charmed by his easy confidence. Maybe it's a sign we should start our own journey, she replied, surprising even herself with her boldness. That moment turned into hours of conversation, as strangers became something more. By the end of the evening, Daniel had written his number on a napkin, leaving her with a grin and a promise, call me, and we'll finish the book together. The Rise of Love. Daniel and Amara's relationship blossomed like the changing seasons. They shared quiet evenings reading on her apartment floor, spontaneous road trips to nowhere, and whispered dreams of the future. Daniel, an aspiring architect, loved designing homes that felt like they could breathe. One day, he told her, sketching a small cabin surrounded by trees, we'll build this. A place that's ours, far away from everything else. Amara, a writer, found inspiration in Daniel's unwavering passion. Her stories began to reflect the light he brought into her life, tales of hope, love, and adventure. For 3 years, they were inseparable, their lives intertwined like vines growing toward the sun. But as with all great stories, cracks began to form beneath the surface. The struggle. Daniel received an opportunity to work abroad, a prestigious project that would elevate his career. Amara was thrilled for him, but fear gnawed at her heart. You have to go, she told him, trying to sound supportive. This is everything you've worked for. But what about us? He asked, his voice tinged with uncertainty. Amara hesitated. We'll make it work. We'll find a way. At first, they did. Long-distance calls became their lifeline, and letters filled the void left by his absence. Daniel would send photos of the structures he was building, while Amara mailed him pages of stories she had written, often inspired by their love. But the distance took its toll. Conversations grew strained, and the warmth in their words faded. One night, after another argument about missed calls and unspoken fears, Daniel said, maybe we're holding on to something that isn't there anymore. Amara's heart shattered, but she couldn't deny the truth in his words. Maybe we need to let go, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. The letter. Months passed, and Amara buried herself in her writing. She channeled her pain into her stories, creating characters who fought for love, even when it seemed impossible. But no matter how many words she wrote, she couldn't escape the ache in her chest. One day, while sorting through a box of old papers, she found the napkin with Daniel's numbers, beginning of everything. Alongside it was an unfinished letter she had written months earlier but never sent. The letter spoke of love, regret, and hope. It was raw and unfiltered, capturing everything she had been too afraid to say. She read the final line aloud, if you ever find yourself missing me, know that I never stopped missing you. The reunion. Amara wasn't sure what compelled her to send the letter. Perhaps it was closure, or perhaps it was a faint hope that their story wasn't over. Weeks passed with no reply, and she convinced herself that she'd made a mistake. But then, on a rainy afternoon, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Daniel. "I read your letter," it began. "And I've been missing you every day since we said goodbye." They agreed to meet at the cafe where it all began. As Amara stepped through the door, her heart raced. Daniel was already there, sitting at their old table, a copy of The Alchemist in his hands. When their eyes met, it felt as though no time had passed. A new beginning. Their conversation that day wasn't about the past, it was about the present and what they wanted for the future. They spoke of lessons learned, of forgiveness, and of the love that had never truly left them. "I don't know where this will take us," Daniel admitted. "But I want to try again." Amara smiled, her heart lighter than it had been in years. "Me too." Their story wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. And as they walked out of the cafe together, hand in hand, Amara realized that some endings aren't endings at all, just the start of a new chapter.